Rings at the same time you talk, or something close to that. That's not your power?
The other day I got an opportunity to see something that I thought was quite amazing. I was stuck in traffic down in Waikiki, Honolulu area, like most of us may have been at one time or another. I was sitting there for a while, and out of my window I saw an amazing thing. In the corner of my eye, a plastic bag was caught in a tree and was flapping in the wind like a flag you see every day on base here on Hickam. Now, that's not what was amazing to me. What was amazing was a little boy, could have been more than 8 years old, walked up to that plastic bag, barely reaching it, grabbed it, folded it up, put it in his pocket, and walked away. Now, I thought that was amazing because before that little boy, there was probably 50, maybe 60 people that walked by it and didn't do anything. It made me think about myself and what I do to help make our planet a little better. So good morning, fellow Toastmasters. As you know, I'm Toastmaster Power, and I want to take just a few moments to hopefully enlighten you with some recent knowledge that I've gained through a college course, an environmental science course, about where we're leaving our planet for future generations. And I want to do that by talking about what's been kind of a banal topic for me in previous years, but global climate change, because that's where we're at, and it's a real thing. I discovered it's real. But I want to also focus in on what we can do, something real simple: reduce, reuse, and recycle. Over the course of the last century, through our human activities, a lot of carbon dioxide emissions and other greenhouse gases have gone up into the atmosphere, mostly because of the rapid and massive use of oil-based fuel to make the energy sources for our planet. Now, the problem is these gases, as you can see, they go up into the atmosphere and they stay up there like a blanket around the Earth. And oftentimes the sun heats it up, and that's happened over the last century. So with the rising temperature changes, in addition to that, we've also had changes to climate and weather. So, as you can see on the pictures up here, and some of you may be familiar with the changes of rainfall, that's one of the substantial things that have happened over the last century. Certain parts of the world are seeing intense rain, floods, other parts droughts, changes in agricultural patterns, and high heat waves if you're from somewhere on the East Coast or the middle part of the United States. Now, again, a lot of this is coming back to the burning of those fossil fuels that go up and heating up the atmosphere that are forcing the climate and weather changes. And in addition to the rainfall, we've seen changes in the actual ocean, the height of the ocean. I didn't believe this myself. And if we go ahead and turn to the next slide, you can see, has anybody heard the story about Kiribati? I didn't hear about it until I took this class. So Kiribati is an island nation that sits about halfway between Hawaii and Australia. And it has, as you can see, not too many inhabitants, just under 100,000 people actually live on Kiribati. But the island nation, it's recognized by the United Nations as a country in its own right. But unfortunately, over the last century, water has actually risen, and it's overtaken the nation. And its people, unfortunately, the government predicts in the next 20 to 30 years, they're actually going to have to leave. Could you imagine that? Here in Hawaii, if the water rose to the point where we had to leave. And it all goes back to how we're treating our planet, how our planet's responding to our treatment. And if researchers are correct, they predict over the next 50, 60, maybe 70 years, some parts of the world could see oceans rise up to 10 feet. All because of how we have grown as a population and how we're treating our planet. You can see way back when, in the 1800s, we only had about 1 billion in our population. But just a couple years ago, in 2012, we surpassed 7 billion people. That's like a virus, if you think about it, for the planet. And here in just a few years, 2050, we're going to pass 9 billion people. More people, more problems, right? Or more people, more solutions. One way we can make that change is by recycling. Now you can take a look at these pictures. Thankfully, none of these pictures were taken from Hawaii, where we live. They're taken in some locations around the U.S. The good news is recycling in general has increased over the last 20 years. About twice as many Americans do it compared to 20 years ago. However, still less than half of our American population altogether actually recycle. It's astounding when you look at some of the other countries around the world who do recycle. Take this example of the plastic bag I brought up earlier. I learned in my class that a plastic bag, just like this one, takes about 1,000 years to decompose. 1,000 years. And places like Hawaii, it doesn't take too long before it floats off into our oceans, and sea turtles, like the picture behind me, they mistake it for food. And unfortunately, ends their life. As you can see on the next slide, we have a wonderful opportunity here in Hawaii. We're one of the few states that got it right. And we can actually recycle and get a monetary benefit for taking our one-time use soda cans back, water bottles. In 2010, in the United States, we discarded over 250 billion one-time use beverage containers that were not recycled. What a lot of people don't realize, though, if you remake a can from recycled material, it takes about 96% less energy and oil-based energy to recreate that can. Making a whole new can, you have to use the natural ore minerals. You have to recreate it using oil-based energy, the oil burning into our atmosphere. Same thing for water bottles. About 76% less energy with a water bottle. Heck, newspapers, just in general, newspapers. Who knows how much longer they're going to be around. But while they're here, if we recycle these, 50% less energy is used, oil-based energy, by recycling. You know, the list goes on and on. You can actually go to recyclehawaii.org to find out ways where you can help not only get that money back, but you can make our planet in Hawaii that beautiful place that it is right now. And in summary, I want to leave you with this. If we don't make a change and do our part over the course of the next century, they predict it's going to be far worse than it is now. In fact, over 1,000 different plants and animals are going to be extinct based on the way our global climate has gone on to become. And we have a choice. Every day we have a choice in everything we do. So the next time you see plastic bag or trash, any trash for that matter, float around, I challenge you, lead by example. Grab it, pick it up, reduce, reuse, recycle.
Good job. Those plastic bags are going to be taking on.